police station. Maybe they'll come and arrest us. I don't know. How you doing?
Doing good, thank you.
So, I fell up. There's a little bit of a wind here, so let's go here. I appealed the decision by Judy Clementing that you were there in the courtroom when I was there. She denied my appeal. Surprise, surprise. They do that on purpose? Come here with some noise? McCoy. Oh yeah, okay. So anyway, you help me. I'm not educated enough, like 98% of the citizens out there. I'm not educated enough in the law of what's going on. So, once I give you the disclosure and everything, you got into it. What did you learn?
Well, I read it through and I asked you a few questions and you said you better just read it because it'll give me more information. And I was pretty shocked.
Were you?
Because when I started reading it, of course, the Crown disclosure, they're supposed to do a thorough pre-charge review when the police present them with a case, and what they ignored completely was the fact that the Fredericton City Police issued you with a ticket, a bylaw ticket, on the 13th of September 2011 after you've been protesting here outside the police station for just over a month, which the documents confirm they all knew. So the bylaw ticket was issued with a $250 fine at around 10 o'clock on the 13th of September. 5 hours later, Corporal Bobby Simmons and Sergeant Matt Myers had a discussion that they recorded in their reports, and Bobby Simmons turned around and said, okay, he's arrestable for this. Charles LeBlanc is now arrestable. This is a criminal offence. That was about 3:30 in the afternoon on the 13th. He wasn't there. As soon as Charles turned up the next morning, he was arrested and charged under the Criminal Code of Canada 175 subsection 1A1 with a disturbance inclusive of the dates from 8th of August to 14th of September. So that means the police issued him with a ticket, and the very next day they arrested him for exactly the same period and the same offence. Then he was taken and incarcerated, which ended up with 2 days in jail. Now the significance is the police established by issuing a ticket that it was a bylaw infraction, and you can't throw someone in prison for a bylaw infraction.
You can't?
No.
No.
You can't arrest somebody for a bylaw infraction. You can arrest them once they refuse to appear in court or refuse to pay a fine. It becomes a different matter. But you can't arrest and incarcerate someone
and cut off their medication.
That's a charter violation.
Yeah. But they're allowed to do that, I guess.
They're not allowed to do it, but of course this is New Brunswick. Hey, so
anything else you found in there?
I was shocked that the Crown Prosecution Services accepted this for prosecution, knowing that the ticket and the charge covered the same period of time. A bylaw ticket says on the back of it you have 20 days to pay it, or you can contest it in court. So you, Charles, were basically not given the opportunity to either pay the ticket or contest it to verify that it was even valid.
True.
So the Crown have ended up taking a case on that should never have been in court. They're also obligated to evaluate your health, whether you are an habitual criminal, which you're obviously not.
Some people might disagree, but anyway.
And because you were told on the 13th of September it was a bylaw matter, on the 14th nothing had changed, so you turned up with you should have been given a warning that the police intended to ramp it up.
Yeah.
So basically the Crown has failed to provide information to both the trial judge that would have had the matter thrown out of court.
Julian Dixon, idiot. Anyway.
And they also failed to tell the whole story to the appeal judge.
Yeah.
They never mentioned a bylaw ticket or any of that, and they actually said to the appeal judge in their submission that Mr. LeBlanc had voluntarily signed the undertaking, which is not the truth, because the undertaking itself says in order to be released from custody, I'm signing this document. That says basically, you either stay in jail and rot away, or you sign the undertaking.
That's exactly what it was.
The undertaking, I want a lot of people to pay attention to this, because if you know anyone who's been forced to sign an undertaking by the police and the Crown or a judge, go to the top of the form and check the number it refers to in the criminal code, because Charles's undertaking to be released on the 16th of September was actually a judicial undertaking that only applies to appeals. It wasn't even the right form. So the judge failed on many levels too.
Anything else? Well, just take your time. Take your little time.
Let's have a look. Oh yeah, there is something else. What's very interesting is the Canadian Civil Liberties wrote a complaint that the same officer who filed the 301 charge against Charles that was thrown out as unconstitutional also participated in the executing the warrant to seize his computer, and they said that is a conflict of interests.
Yeah.
But it's also questionable because the police are laying complaints against members of the public that had no right to have them laid. Same things happened here. The police actually used one of their own employees to give a complaint against Charles for the Bullhorn incident, and it was actually taken on the 13th and 14th of September, which means they basically went to somebody and said, hey, we need some evidence, can you file a complaint?
It was in that building. They made a complaint that they were, the bankers couldn't count their money. What distracted them. Must be some poor insulation in that place.
No, there isn't. I actually was in there a couple of weeks ago in one of the conference rooms that overlooks the police station, and the double or triple glazing is extremely good. You can't hear traffic.
Really?
You can't hear a diddly squat. And the only noise I heard over the course of about 45 minutes was one motorbike going by, and it was nothing like the sound.
Gotta have. I think it's. I think the complainant says it could be a girlfriend of the cops, and there gotta be some sexual relationship going on. But anyway, we'll get that if we happen to have a trial or they have mental problems. But
something else. One more thing. Corporal Bobby Simmons, who executed the
I'm gonna
warrant
puke when you
and
hear that
seized the
name, but that's
computer.
okay. Yes.
It was, as we said before, Corporal Bobby Simmons who told Matt Myers, we're going to arrest Charles LeBlanc. So she, again, is doing what the CCLA said should not happen. She's the same officer participating in things that were not appropriate.
And she was the same officer on the 13th, was in court, told me everything's going to be all right, Charles, everything's going to be all right, don't worry about it. And then knowing the Fredericton police were doing the dirty work in court, knowing they were going to raid my place the 16th.
Yeah.
That's corrupt.
Yes, and now I know. Now Charles and I have been through. You and I have been through these disclosure documents. Now I see why the Crown and the police were desperate to have you change your plea and stop that going further in court, because the police were so inappropriate to issue a ticket and then 5 hours later say we're going to arrest him for the same period of time and the same offence.
Sally, if it happened to me, what other person did it happen to? They'll never see the light of day in the media, or they're in jail right now. It must happen a lot.
It happens every single day, and when I have been in provincial court for either my own issues or supporting other people, I've seen too many instances of bogus charges, wrong paperwork, wrong documents, no due diligence by police, Crown or judge. And my belief is they are filling the courts with people who should not be there to make it look as though they're doing a grand job.
What's wrong with these cops? Are they maybe high on steroid, that they're not taking straight? Should the cop be going for drug tests?
Probably.
I mean, there's something wrong. There's something wrong.
Well, my belief is that the cops are doing it just the way they've been told to do it by the government of New Brunswick and the city. I think corruption here is so huge, it's all about hiding it and keeping it hidden.
Provincial public inquiry?
Public inquiry, provincial public inquiry, absolutely. Absolutely. And I believe, because it will be the government that commissions it, it will be bogus, but at least we'll know. We'll have more evidence, then maybe we can go to federal government or something higher.
The chief retired. It had nothing to do with me, right?
I think it had an awful lot to do.
No, he said it was time for him to go. Everybody retires at the age of 49, right?
Oh, I think he's been allowed to go to save his pension before too much of the truth comes out. And I think nothing will change because he was doing that job the way he was told to do it. Wrong.
So we have a corrupted police force and a justice system,
Yeah.
and Lord help us.
And they're ruining many people's lives.
Thanks a lot.
My pleasure.